trying to understand what is Power BI, understanding Power Query tools, doing different types of transformation. And I'm sure they've introduced us to ETL, and we've extracted our data from different sources, we've transformed them, and at the moment, we are going to load the data into the data model, whereby we'll be carrying out some calculation. So, as initially said, my name is Paul Barnabas. I am a Microsoft certified trainer. I also have certification in Microsoft certification, MCSC in BI reporting. I'm also a BI developer slash architect, and I've been in the space of technology.
Sir, we can hear you, sir.
Can you hear me clearly? Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I've been in the technology space for the past 9 years. Thank you very much. So moving on to the discourse of today. So the objective of today's class is basically to look at these five different items. First of all, we are going to look at the overview of DAX and calculations in Power BI. We are going to see how to create new columns. We are going to examine writing simple DAX measure. And there's an emphasis on simple because DAX measures can be quite complex. Depends on what you are trying to achieve. But what we'll be looking at in today's class will be the simple DAX measures. We'll be looking also at calculate function and then the DAX evaluation context. Then the final thing we'll be looking at is how to create a date table, the relevance of a date table, and then time intelligence calculation, and why all these are important. So join me as we move on to the first option. So looking at overview of DAX and calculation in Power BI. So what's calculations? The calculation in Power BI are powered by DAX language and is also used by the Power Pivots in Excel or SQL analysis services. So if you can remember quite all right, when we were talking about Power Query, we were introduced to a language called M language in yesterday's class. And that is the language driving Power Query. That is the language that is essential for doing extraction and transformation and what is used to load data into the data model. And today now we'll be moving from a completely different screen now into Power BI itself, where we'll be looking at calculation. And data model is synonymous to Power Pivot. So when sometimes interchangeably you hear Power Pivot, you hear data model. Basically what these are is where your data is being kept, is where you carry out more calculations. You can also shape more of your data there. You can do relationship, create relationship. You can create more tables. So it has a number of advantages. And the language responsible for data modeling is called DAX. That is Data Analysis Expression. It's also a functional language like Excel functions. What this simply means is that before you start it, there's always an assignment operator equal to some blah, blah, blah. That's what it means by being a functional language. And it can be used to generate new columns, new tables, or store calculations as measures. Those are all the uses of DAX language. So I'm creating new columns in Power BI. So before I move on to this, let's look at the data set. I've given you a brief introduction, so I'll be moving to the data set that I'll be using for today. And as you can see, we are considering a data sample called Superstore data. So basically, it's containing information about sales transactions. And we see information containing the order number, the time, the date when it was ordered and shipped, the type of shipping method, the customer code, the name, the segment of that particular item, the country, the city, state. It gives us a detailed information of those items that were sold. So we'll be loading this data. This data will be made available for us at the end of this session so that we can play around it. So beforehand, kindly take note that the assignment for today's online class is to ensure we can rebuild, what we've done in today's class. So you would see how you load your data into Power BI. You would write some DAX functions. You create your base table and then build a bit of visual. So please try and take note of that. So at the moment, I'm moving on to my Power BI file. So at the moment now, I'm going to try and locate that Excel file. So browse Superstores and I connect to it. Okay. So I'm going to navigate to the other table where I have my information. And one of the things we were taught in previous classes was how important it is to, make our first rows as headers. So as you can see that it's not recognizing the first row, as the header. So we can do that by using this function, which promotes the first row to the headers. So we have also changed the types. So we assign appropriate, data types for each of the columns. And one of the important things is that, so as was iterated, any column that you don't need in your data model, ensure that you do not load them. You understand? So we do not need this row ID. So we have already removed it. So those are the few transformations that we have carried out so far. Hello, are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So now I'm through with my
Yes.
transformation ETL. So I'm currently going to load my data into the model to close and apply. So what happens in between this is that all the steps that I've applied, you see, will be loaded. So applying coding changes. So Power BI ensures that it applies all the steps, it shapes everything, and then it loads that data into the model. So there are three views when you load your data. Basically in Power BI, we have the report view, we have the data view, and we have the model view. So in the report view, that's where we create visualization. In the data view, we tend to see our data in the raw format as a table, right? We tend to see data is not loading. Just a moment, let me refresh. Yeah. Okay. So this is where we get to see the table, the view. So all the data that we had ensured we had cleaned up are now existing here in the data model. And here in the relationship view, if you have more than one table and we deem it fit to connect these tables together, we tend to create the relationship here in the model view. But we'll be spending most of our time here in the data view and also in the report view. So as you can see, just as we saw the data in Excel, it's loaded in the data model. So let me move back to my slide. So one of the things we are going to be trying to do now is to create a new column in Power BI. So what are new columns? The new columns are also referred to as calculated columns. So basically, this is an imported term from Excel, from Power BI. So basically, they gave us a bit of introduction to the business intelligence side of Excel, which constitutes of Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, and Power Map. So the data model in Power BI is synonymous to the Power Query and Power Pivot that we have in Excel. And also in the data model, when you want to create a new column, it's called calculated columns. But when you are creating a measure in Excel, you have two. We have the explicit measure and the implicit measure. I will explain further on that. But for columns, we have just one. It's called a calculated column. So required when a report field is missing from the original data. So the idea is basically now you need to get, probably in our own case, now the computation of cost. We already have the sales numbers, we have the profit. And if you want to deduce what are the costs for each item, we can make use of a calculated column to achieve this, right? So it can be generated on the fly or using DAX function. So let's go and experiment this. So at the moment, as I was saying, in our data model, we have the sales column, we have a quantity column, we have discount column, and we have profit column. But we would love to see we want to derive a cost column that's looking at, what is the cost of each item. So, and to go about that, you can easily come to any one of the columns within your data model and right click and click on new column. And when you click on new column, it creates a new column for you and expects you to populate it or the formula bar with the DAX function that you want to use to derive what you need. So the logic behind this is that we want to calculate our cost. New column. So we want to calculate our cost. So you can see it's showing column equals to. Remember that we said that that is a functional language. So before we begin to write a DAX function, there has to be an equals to sign before it. So the name of the column comes first. So we want to name this new column cost. So cost equals to, then we start writing the DAX function. So here we simply want to subtract the profit from the sales. And also take note of something. For detailed referencing in the data model, you would notice that the names of each column is mostly appended by the name of the table. So this is what I mean. So I want to reference sales. So I'm saying sales. Then you see, it gives me an intelligence. It's telling me that I am referencing the sales column in the orders table. Take note that the name of the table that was loaded is named orders. And we want to reference this sales column. So what it's saying is that go to table of orders and column sales. So this is a definite reference. Understood, definite reference of that particular column. So we've identified that of sales and we want to subtract it from profit, or that profit. So it's always ideal as a convention to append or to make use of the naming convention of the table and the column. So it helps you visually to understand where is it referencing. And then you could also have different tables having the same name, column name. So it might be a bit difficult for you to identify if you are not referencing the name of that table. So we are through with writing DAX function. Let's click on this equal to this mark sign or commit. And here you go. You can see that it has given us a new calculated column. And for every line or every row, we have a computed value. So that's the power of a DAX function. And that's what's called a calculated column. So let's move on to the next one. So we'll be writing, so now at this point now, we want to talk about measures. So as initially said that DAX is a functional language and we can write that as a calculated column as a measure. So we'll just look at what are implicit measures and explicit measures. So implicit measures are internally generated, while explicit measures are manually written. So, one of the beauty of Power BI is that there is a particular attribute that is inbuilt called quick measures. So what this does is that you can implicitly derive dark functions or dark measures. That means the system itself, creates the dark measure for you. It writes out that dark calculation for you. But for explicit measure, you would have to write it yourself. So we'll see how we're going to go about that. So measures are such are functions, and we have different types of functions, different types of measures. I mean, so we have the aggregated function, we have the date function, we have the mathematical functions. There are a number of different types of functions. At the end of this slide, there'll be a reference URL where you can get to explore all the different types of functions that you can use in writing measures. So the result of a measure can only be displayed inside of a visual. So take note of this key thing here. So for a calculated column, immediately you commit it, you can see the evidence of that calculation or the evidence of that DAX measure, that DAX function you just wrote. But for a measure, you would only be able to see the result when you insert it into a visual. So take note of those two different things. So let's go about writing a simple DAX measure. So let's now go to the report view. And at the moment, let's try and now calculate. So to give you a bit of context, let's look at something. So let me drag in country. Make it a table. My model is slow. Let's do city. And to the new column we just created, which is cost. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Can hear you. Can hear you.
Okay. So please pardon that my model is a bit slow. I think I have a few things running underneath. So if you notice something now, I just dragged in city, new calculated column that we just created into this visual, this table visual, and it fitted the number. But what you would see happening here is that when we come here, behind the scenes, as I dropped in that cost column into that visual, what it did behind the scene was to carry out a sum of all the values in that column. It carried out a sum of it defaultly. This is an example of explicit measure. So behind the scene, it aggregated that column with a sum function. So I can decide that fine, I don't want it to be a sum, I want it to be an average, and it does that instantly for me. Okay, probably I want it to be a count, it does that for me. So what it's saying is that throughout the data set now, we have just one occurrence of Aberdeen in the data. But it's always ideal that you write a measure for whatever visualization you want to create. Because if you tend to have measures that are looking or is dependent on other measures, if you do not specify it as a measure, if you make a simple change in the title or in the heading, it will affect your whole visual. So it's always ideal that when you are trying to represent your data, don't just always drag them. Always try to write an explicit measure for reference purposes. So we would replicate this same thing. So let's return it back to a sum. So what we want to do now is to write a new and explicit measure called total cost. And we can go about that by coming to the field panel here and clicking on this option and right click on new measure. So once we do that, there will be a formula bar appearing on top here. So here we can write our DAX function and specify what it is we want to achieve. So the name of the measure will be total sales, which is equals to, so we are introducing another function, or the first function called sum. So sum adds all the numbers in a column together. So sum, I want to sum up the column cost. So you see it also referencing the table name and then also the column name. Commit. So you can see. So this is the new measure I just created. Another thing that you can use to take note of the difference of whatever column you have is when you see this calculate symbol, it means this is a measure. But when you see this function, this a symbol, it means it's a calculated column. So take note of those two things. This is a measure, and this is a calculated column. And all these are just different columns that we have in the data model. Okay. So this is an example of an explicit measure. So let's also try and represent it as a visual. So we drag in CT and then the total measure and total sales. And you can see it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So but it's always ideal to always write a measure, not just dragging the column into your visual. So let's move on to the next slide. So we want to talk about the calculate function and the DAX evaluation context. So for us to further understand DAX, it's important for us to understand something called context. There are two types of evaluation context. Number one is data context. Number two is raw context. So what is
Please, I can't hear you.
Hello, Paul. We can't hear you. Hello, Paul. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We lost you at a time.
Okay, please, where did you lost me? At what point?
Well, you actually explaining some differences to us on the what's it called? On the PowerPoint screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So I said what I was saying was I'm going to introduce the calculate function and the DAX evaluation context. So I was saying that when you are creating a calculated column or a measure, there are some things that happen behind the scene. And those things are based on some concepts in Power BI. And there are two types of evaluation context. We have the filter context and the row context. So these things simply give you an understanding that when I'm creating a calculated column, this and this and these are the things happening behind the scenes. When I'm creating a measure, this and this also happen behind the scenes. So the first one is called filter context. The set is usually determined by the current selection in a report. So take note of something. Let me explain this with further understanding. So let me just drag this. For you to understand, the summation of all the information in this cost column is 2.01 million. But take note of something, that when we now splitted these numbers by introducing city, something happened. It broke down those numbers into the applied filter. What that simply means is that filter context is simply explaining that when you introduce a filter, when there's a selection, so what is happening at that point in time is that as you are breaking down the total cost by the city, there is a selection going on behind the scenes and breaking those numbers into the appropriate selection. And that's simply filter context. You have filter context when you are creating measures, and you have row context when you are creating calculated columns. So as you can see here, it says usually determined by the affected rows on the data table. What this is simply saying is that when we come here to the data view, when we created.
Sorry. Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't see your screen. I don't know if it's only me that has the issue.
Okay. Can we all see my screen?
Yes. I think
yes, I you. Yes. I can see your screen.
Okay. Your screen. Thank you. So as I was explaining, so when we created this calculated column and we said do a subtraction of profit from sales, it was evaluating each role and carrying out that aggregation. And it did it for each role until the end. And that is where we have the role context happening. So we have the role evaluation context happening when we are creating a calculated column. Then we have the filter evaluation context happening when we create a measure. So try and understand those two fundamental things and the way they work. You easily create your calculated column and you see the result immediately because it populates on your data table and it consumes more space, consumes more memory. But for your measure, it's instant. So this is only at runtime. The computation is only done at runtime when you are showing that numbers. So you have already computed it, but there won't be an evaluation of this number if you do not display it as a measure. To understand these two fundamental things. So calculate function also is a very, very powerful function. It's usually referred to as the mother of all functions in DAX. And it's a function that can be used to modify an evaluation context. So what does this simply mean? It means, fine, I've easily written a sum to give me the total sales. So for adventure, I want to now look at that sales for this month, or the sales for last month, or the sales for probably last year. I will need to introduce a filter. I will need to change the context, the ideal context that has already been built defaultly. So that is what we use calculated function for. So to better understand this, I would also introduce something to us called the date table. So as we have seen in our data set, it's a sales information, and is basically supposed to give us an insight about how that business is doing. And as a business analyst or as a demand of the business, it could be okay. I want to see last year sales. I want to see this year's or this month's sales, or it can depend. It can even be month-on-month sales. So, but for us to be able to achieve this, it's always ideal that we build a date table. So that has some functions that allow us for easy time intelligence calculation, and these functions require dedicated date tables. So what this is saying, we can use an calendar auto function to create a date table, which we can connect with the use of a relationship to our other table and then break down our information to the granular details from date to week to month to quarter to year. We can achieve that if we have a date table. So what we'll be doing right now is to ensure that we build a date table. So we can go about that by coming to home table, home menu I mean, and the model and new table. Go to your model, new table. So here we want to call it the date. So the name of the function we are introducing now is calendar auto. Calendar auto. So what does this function do? This function goes into our whole data set, all the data we have within our model, and identify the latest date and the earliest date, and then create a unique column that contains each day from the maximum to the minimum. That's what the calendar auto does. So let's go and view what we just created by going to the data view, and we can see this calculated table that we just created. And as I was saying, what you see here is the list of all the dates that we have, looking from the earliest date to the latest date. So based on this new column I just created, I can decide I want to create a new column and call this day, and use the day function to extract the day from that date. So it's actually, so I'm going to reference my date column, which is date. So date table date, and I press enter. And so what this does is that it creates a new column that extracts the day from the date. So I want to quickly go on and create other columns that are needed for my analysis. So let's do month. So I'm going to use this. So it also has a helper function to help us with. So if you type your date and you press dot, it gives you an intelligence of any one of these functions that you can select to help you populate what you need. So at the moment now, I want the month number. Month number, let me call this month number equals to. So what you see is that it's extracting the month number from this particular date. So let me quickly create the month itself. Month. So let me do year. So kindly take note that there is another way of also creating these columns. The other way is by using the format function, and you will get to see how that is used when you watch the online video. So here, I'm using the helper function to achieve this. You can also make use of the format function also to get. So let me show you an example of how that works. I'm going to create a new column, and this is going to be water. And it's going to be format. I'm formatting. The value is my date, referencing my date, comma, and I want it to be Q. So Q here is for quarter. So what this means is that it should extract the quarter from that particular date or date. And here you go. So what this is doing, okay, let me make use of just one Q. So what this is doing is showing us the quarter number. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So to even make it more semantic, I can introduce a Q. So I want you to have Q. Okay, so Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So what you just see I did was to create a date table. And the beauty of this is that the moment I connect this, my date column, to the date column that is existing in my orders table, I can now, so we have, there's an order date, there's a ship date. So if I connect it to any one of these now, I have the, the opportunity of now splitting whatever it is I'm trying to visualize by day or by month or by year or by quarter. That's one of the major important needs of creating a date table. So you might be wondering, why did I create a month number? The reason being is, if I drag, so see what I'm talking about here. So if I drag my month into a visual here, you see that it does it alphabetically, but the arrangement of the Gregorian calendar month is not alphabetically. So I can easily go back and then sort my month by this month number. So you click on month, you come to column tools, you click on sort by column, and then you click on month number. So by the time you go back to our report view, you refresh, you can see that it's now sorted. So with this, I can bring in my measure that I just created, total sales. I can bring it in here. So notice something. So the idea, what I said was that I want to be able to split my sales number by this new table. But who can tell me the reason why I am having the same numbers repeated all through? As I explained, I'm expecting my filter context, to take place at this point. I want this value to be splitted by the month. So who can tell me what's going on here?
Hello. Hello. It's because it's not connected to the calendar table on the model.
Okay.
From
so
the
you're
model.
saying I need to create a connection between these two tables, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so let's try that out and let's see the result of that. So it's saying that I need to create a connection between my orders table and my date table. So I'm going to try and link it up now from my date table and drag. Let's drag to our order date. Oh, beautiful. And so we can see that we have successfully created the relationship between this date column and the order date column in our orders table. So tomorrow's class will detail what this relationship means, why there's one here, why there's a star here, why there's an arrow here. All this will be talked in details about in tomorrow's class. So let's go back and see what's happening. Wow. So as you can see now, our numbers are well broken down. So the total context has kicked in, and now the sales numbers is split into January, into February, March, and on up to December. And this is beautiful because before, the best we could do was just to visualize this sales number as a whole or split it by any one of these columns. But it was difficult for us to really look at it based on what is happening over time. And this is simply called time intelligence when it comes to Power BI. So another thing we can do is, so our time is fast spent. I would have loved to create a bit of more measures, but what I will try and do is to show you guys what we call quick measures. So I think we have a slide on that. So, so what are quick measures? So quick measures are some pre-created DAX functions that Power BI has made available for us. So we can easily just invoke those measures, and then it looks through our data set and computes the information for us. But before we can make use of our quick measures very, very well, it's ideal for us to tell Power BI that we have a date table, and we have to also ensure that that date table is referenced or is understood by Power BI. And how do we go about that? Is we come to our table tools, come to mark as date table. So I want this table to be marked, my date table to be marked as a date table, so that Power BI recognizes it, and then it can carry out the ideal calculations needed. Mark as date table. So it's asking me that which column is the date column. So it's called date. Validated successful. So we are good. I click on OK. So because we just added something, it defaultly said remove. Just a moment. What's going on here? Okay. So this is the reason why it's always ideal to make use of the format function. Take note of something. Immediately I turned that table into a date table. These functions, these helper functions I used became invalid. So let's see how we can quickly fix them. So we have to make use of our format function. So this is a bit of learning curve for us. So the usage of why you should use the helper function or why you should use the format. So if you are using the format, it works very well, either or without you making that date table recognized as a date table. But if you did not enable it, you have to ensure that you enable it. Do you understand? So I think we're going to do more. This is the month number. Format. We have a full month, and here we are introducing the format to calculate us for us a year. Okay. So this should work by the time we introduce our month. Okay. So we are back to normal. So ensure that when you set a date table to be recognized by Power BI as a date table, do not use the helper function. always ensure you use the format function. Take note of that. So I want to create now quick measures. So I want to click on quick measures. So by doing that, you can either go to model, quick measures, or you come to the field pane and click on any one of the columns or the tables, and then you click on these three dots and click on quick measures. So here we can see the drop down and we can see different types of, pre-calculated measures that we can use, on the fly. So peradventure you want to look at the year-to-date total, you can just click on this, and then it's going to ask you what is the base value. So this base value is that which column do you want to base that calculation on? So we want to base it on the total sales measure that we created. So you drag that into this particular field. Then date. So you reference your date. This is your date column. And then you click OK. And what happens is that it goes ahead to automatically generate a new measure for you. And when we click on that measure, we drag it out, we can see. So total sales year to date. So the reason why this is blank is because we do not have in our data, we do not have 2020 as part of, part of the years involved in our data. So when we come here and we look at what we have in let's see, orders table, orders date. So this data stops at 2017. That's the reason why we do not have a value shown for total sales year to date. So what this is simply saying is it's calculating all the sales that have been done since the beginning of this year till date. That's what this calculation is doing. So, but let's just create one more before we round off. So new quick measure. Let's see. Okay, let's see running total. So the base value is on total sales. It has recognized the date and it's going to do it in the direction of ascending. Click OK. So one thing I'm going to try and do now is to introduce a slicer so that we will not be experiencing zeros or blanks in our data. So let me bring in year. So currently for 2017. So as you can see, so let me bring in the new measure we just created, total running. So what this is doing is it is supposed to calculate the total sales running in date. So what it does is that it does not take into context any filter. Notice that when we applied a filter, when there was no filter applied, the total sales was 2 million plus. And when we introduced a slicer, what this slicer did was to introduce a filter context that went to calculate all the total sum of sales for the year 2017. But this filter is not affecting this particular measure that we just created, because based on what we wanted, if you want the total sales running till date, so it's looking at the maximum date till date, and then it's ensuring that it's calculating the total sum of everything, and it is not taking into effect any filter that is selected on our date table. So we'll be rounding off the class here at this point, so you can get more insight because there's a lot to talk about, but we have a constricted time. But the video for this class will be made available on YouTube, which you can go and review. So there are still some other things that we didn't get to touch in this class that is available there. And if you have any questions, please let's raise them right away. So the moderators and myself will be available to answer those questions.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Paul Barnabas. So please, let's just appreciate him. I give you a round of applause. That is a great presentation. But sincerely, the notice came to you just few minutes before the section, and despite that short notice, you were able to deliver a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Paul. And Mr. Ahmed is waiting for us. Please, if you have any question on the meeting chat, Ahmed is there ready to answer all your questions. So he had challenge with his network. That was why he was unable to actually get in touch with us early enough. So please, I need you to submit all your questions to him. Let's let him attend to them. That is one. And number two, his video is available, and let's get that done. So, Mr. Paul, can we have a copy of this Power BI file? Just save it, because I can see some of your codes. If you want to open it and take a look at it. So, this Power BI that you've done, you need a copy of it so that you can actually upload it to the site. So please feel free to ask your question now if you have any question.
All right, so apologies to everybody. Thank you very much, Mr. DJ and Paul. In fact, this post presentation should probably just replace what I did. Sorry, I'm unable to actually share live videos because my internet upload speed is extremely low. But I think if you can hear me now, then I'll be able to take your questions as well. I really appreciate Paul so much, and I appreciate Mr. DJ as well for helping to handle the situation.
Okay, great. So Ahmed is here. Let's have a question. Let's roll them out. Any question, please? Okay, so if there's no question coming in, what is the assignment for today? I'm happy Mr. Ahmed is here. So what is the task for today?
All right, so sorry, I have to give you guys some trouble, and the trouble I have to give you is you should watch the video on YouTube. After watching the video on YouTube, you have to replicate everything that was done on that video, pretty much similar to what Paul has done today already. So you have to write all the DAX functions that we wrote. You need to create that date table that we created. Then there is also one extra DAX measure that you will need to write, which was not on the video. But if you watch the video, then you see me describe what you need to do to get that DAX measure correct. So once you complete that assignment, you will discuss how you can send that into us for review. I'm always available to review Power BI assignments. Trust me, if you guys send in 50 or you send in 100 Power BI files, trust me, I'm going to review everything and I'll get back to everybody. Of course, if you have challenges while creating your own, probably you have one or two issues that seems not to work as the video has demonstrated, then you can ask questions as well on the group. If you feel that nobody is answering on time, probably people are busy or something, you can give me a call. Then we can handle your question, and if we even need to do some WhatsApp video calls as well to resolve your issues, then we'll be glad to do that.
Okay. So thank you very much.
Yes, sorry, sir. In addition to that, hello,
yes.
Yes, so in addition to that, I'll be dropping the feedback link, the feedback form link on the group chat. Please, I want it to be based on the videos that they watch, the video they watch, not on this presentation. So we will drop the link. Just kindly watch the video and then evaluate it based on that video that you guys watch. So to help us have a detailed feedback and then we can work with. Thank you very much.
So please,
I have a
feedback
question.
is very, very important. Let's have your feedback. It's going to drop the feedback form. I beg you all, fill the form and submit it. Somebody has a question there. Who is that, please?
It's Kelvin. Sorry, the data set for the YouTube video, is it under the link of the video?
Fine. Now, what we have done today, we have created a OneDrive folder. You will see day 1, day 2, day 3. The link to the folder will be added to the YouTube video. Any video you open on YouTube, you will see a link there. Once you click on the link, it will take you to our OneDrive where you will see day 1, day 2, day 3 up to day 10. So pick the one that you are actually following at the moment and you get access to the presentation file and the data files. So that will be ready today. I know they are working on it. Before we give it to you on daily basis, but we thought of it that let's add them together in a single link. So that will be done and you will have access to it shortly. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Another question? Okay, so it's great having you around today. So please, tomorrow will be another great day. We are still looking at modeling. We want to talk about synonyms, relationship, AI features, and some other things around Power BI. So the presenter tomorrow is also somebody very, very good as far as DAS and is concerned. DAS and relationship is concerned. So he's going to show us a lot of things tomorrow. And apart from that, I want us to follow up. Let's have your questions. If you have any question, I'm happy with what Ahmed just told us. He said he can address over 100 questions in a day. Drop your question, bring up your challenges, and let's see how we can help out. In this forum, we have more than 30 professionals in this group. So feel free to drop your question. I'm very sure they will attend to you. Thank you very much. And let's meet tomorrow this same time for the next section, day 6. Have a nice time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.